Today we are reviewing Fred Minnick's #2 whiskey of the year, Larceny Barrel Proof C Batch C923. Is it worth the hunt? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome back to the Bourbon Retriever. Today we are reviewing one of the most talked about bottles right now, Larceny Barrel Proof, the C Batch C923. If you clicked on the video, you probably already know Fred Minnick took his top 100 bottles throughout the year and did them blind on a live stream, straight back to back to back. I could not do that. I couldn't imagine. I'm about to do 20 plus bourbon blind for my end of the year best of 2023, and I'm getting nervous about that. I can't imagine doing 100 of them back to back. But spoiler alert for those of you who haven't watched it, Larceny came in second and third place on his list. Second place was the C batch and third place was the A batch. When I saw the results of Fred Minnick's blind, I was stoked. Fred Minnick tries almost every whiskey under the sun that came out this year. If it came out, more likely than not, Fred Minnick tried it. And for Larceny, not just one, but two of them, these are $60 bottles that are pretty readily available to get. When his list came out, almost every store around me had it. They only are about $60, and there isn't really a secondary markup on them. So for a bottle like that to be able to come in second and third on a list, I think it's just great for the community. These are bottles that everyone can go out and hopefully try. Unlike many things on the list, including #1, the Prohibition Stag, that's a bottle that pretty much no one's been able to get. It was very limited production. Fred Minnick himself only really had a sample bottle, and it was $1,000 for the set, which is just almost dumb money in whiskey. So given that me and my friends don't have the best impulse control with whiskey, we went out and got it. So I'm excited to see how it tastes today. Before we get into the tasting, a little bit of background on the bottle. Larceny is made by Heaven Hill. It is their weeded mash bill. And Heaven Hill releases this 3 times a year. The A that comes out in January, the B that comes out in May, and the C batch that typically comes out in September. They are released simultaneously with their Elijah Craig barrel proofs. And I'm a big Elijah Craig fan, so when the A, B, and C come out, I'm normally buying the Elijah Craigs. The fact that Elijah Craig and Larceny come out at the same time and most people end up buying the Elijah Craig, I think it ends up giving Larceny not the credit that it deserves. The last couple of Larceny batches that have come out have been absolute hitters, so I'm super excited to see what this one tastes like. All right, on the aroma. That really is quintessential bourbon on the nose. Compared to Elijah Craig is a little more harsher on the nose. I'm not getting much spice on the nose. It's mostly a really dark, rich caramel bomb with a little bit of oak on the back end. Now, I don't want to hype it up too much. This isn't smelling like an LE nose to me. It doesn't smell super old. It doesn't smell super complex, but the notes that are there are absolutely amazing. So if you go to the Elijah Craig website, they say on the nose you should be getting a toasted bread with maple and cinnamon. Now that those words are in my mind, I'm getting that a little bit. It's pretty funny how tasting notes work that way. Once you start thinking of an item, you can almost visualize it when you smell it. That's why a lot of times when me and my friends, when we're tasting a bottle, we'll give ourselves each other about 30 seconds to collect our own thoughts. And that way we don't influence each other in what we're tasting. And when we do it that way, we're often able to get more notes because we each can tell each other the notes we're getting, and it makes it a much better experience. All right, on to the palate. All right, so I am rather enjoying this pour. It tastes like maple syrup on the tip of your tongue, and it's just super viscous in your mouth. Like syrup is kind of the connotation I'm getting, but it's not overly sweet like syrup. It just has this nice, rich, dark caramel note to it. And as it kind of just flows over your tongue, it turns into this almost burnt cinnamon. It makes me think that's probably where the oak is coming in on this. I'm getting no floral notes. This isn't a light fruit. These are more darker fruit. And this has a really good back end finish to it. I think the perfect analogy for it is black pepper, like fresh ground pepper you might get at a restaurant, the really nice kind. That is almost exactly what I'm getting on the palate. Yeah, I can't get over how just syrupy and viscous the mouthfeel is on this bottle. That's one of the qualities I look for in a good bourbon. I just love when I take a sip and it can coat my full mouth and I can get the flavors really expand across the palate. Before I get to the final grade on this bottle, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that subscribe button. I'm a small channel trying to get to 1,000 subs. At 1,000 subs, several doors open on YouTube, so I'm really trying to get to that spot. Plus, if you're enjoying this content, I have some great videos coming out. I'm doing my best of ryes, my honorable mention bourbons, and my top 10 bourbons that will be coming out in the next couple weeks. Okay, so now, is this the #2 whiskey of the year? I will be putting this in my blind at the end of the year, so I will definitively know then when I do a blind, like Fred. Doing a blind is the only real way that you know, because you can try it side by side with the other pours. Like many of these pours on my shelf, like the Michter's 10, I have the A batch from 2023, and the JD 12 over here. I absolutely love those pours, but typically, just how human nature works, you typically think things a little more rosier in the past, so without trying them side by side, it's really hard to know which one is better. The other thing about blinds is you take all the label bias out of it. The Michters and the JD, they've just blown up. People are loving, especially the A batch. People are just going absolute nuts over the A batch from the Michter's 10. So being able to try these side by side is the only real way that you can answer the question of, is it #2? But I have several theories on why this finished #2 for Fred Minnick. First, the notes you get on Larceny are very, very pungent. It just smacks you in the face with the notes it has. And when you drink several bourbons in a row, especially 100, your palate can get a little fatigued. And so when you have a bourbon such as Larceny that has such strong notes, it can really power through that palate even when it's fatigued. And the second reason is a reason I'll probably get a little hate over is I think Larceny, the juice inside changes drastically as you get more air in the bottle. For instance, I bought the C batch from last year. This is the C922. And when I first opened it, I wasn't the biggest fan. I bought it because Breaking Bourbon had a 4.5 barrels on it. So for $60, again, the same thinking. I was like, if $6 bourbon, get 4.5 barrels, I should definitely go out and try and see just what it's like. When I first popped it, I wasn't the biggest fan. I thought, it's okay bourbon, whatever. It is what it is. But as this thing started draining and it got probably around the keyhole here, it just developed into this magnificent bourbon. And this is probably, I'm trying to think, maybe top 5 on my shelf. I just absolutely love this bottle. I actually went out and got a second bottle because I was just such a big fan. I cannot believe how much it changed in the bottle. So I don't know how long Fred had the Larceny open from when he got it to his tasting, but if it had been a while and there was some drain from it, I could 100% see why it finished so high, and I am excited to see for when this one gets a little lower how it tastes. Another thing I'll say about the blind tasting is I bet you if you did that same blind 10 different times, you would have 10 different orders. I've noticed even for myself when I do blinds, the same blind different months, a year later, I will have a different order. And that's because either my palate's changed, maybe I ate something different that morning, maybe I'm just feeling for something different. Sometimes I am really digging dark oak, molasses, and then other times I just want something light, airy, crisp. And lastly, we all just have different palates. Fred Minnick's #2 whiskey is not going to be my #2 whiskey, which isn't going to be the Bourbon Junkie's #2 whiskey, Bourbon Kingdom's #2 whiskey, or your #2 whiskey. We all enjoy different flavors and are just naturally going to have different lists. But my final results on the Larceny, this is a bottle I do think you guys should go out and get. I really enjoy this pour. I actually enjoy the fresh crack pour on this more than this C batch. So if that is any indication, this is going to get drastically better. And for $60, you really can't beat it. There aren't many barrel proof whiskeys on the shelf for under $60 in this day and age in whiskey, especially if you're trying to expand your palate. This bourbon, the secondary grain is a wheat. So if you're trying to expand your horizons, try different types of things, and you haven't had many wheaters, this is a perfect bottle to go out and try. So that's my review of the Larceny C Batch C923. If you're enjoying this content, before you head out, check out this video or this one. And until next time, cheers.